Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see you again. Um, we've just completed 7.5 weeks of training, and I think we're in really good shape. And physically, we look good. I think Ben Souders and his Satch and that staff have done an outstanding job of getting these kids ready for spring ball. We're excited about spring ball. We have 39 new players on the team. I think it's kind of the way of college football. Um, but the guys that have come in new for us have really gelled and meshed. The team has accepted them, and they've done a nice job in the workouts and things of that nature. So we're excited. We've moved to the mornings um, this spring. Uh, it's hard to get used to, because you're always usually have the day to prepare for what you're going to do, and then you have to do it at night, knowing that tomorrow morning is the next deal. So we're going to try it, obviously, throughout the spring, try spring ball and things of that nature early, see how we like it, and depend on how we like it, what we'll do in the fall. Um, we will have 3 Saturdays um, that will be open to you guys and to the public, um, including the scrimmage and all scrimmages. And uh, other than that, it'll be our practice on Tuesdays and Thursdays will start around 8 o'clock, 8:10. And then I think the first scrimmage will be at 9, the second one at 10, and then the spring game will be at noon. But I like where we're at. I think every coach in America will tell you that they like where they're at right now. I do. I'm excited to see. Got a lot of battles, a lot of challenges that we have, a lot of depth chart battles and things of that nature um, coming into spring. That's going to be exciting to figure out. But other than that, I'm excited about the new coaches that we added with, 3 on offense with, of course, Coach Petrino and Eric Mateus and of course Ronnie Fouch. So those guys have done a good job. The players have taken to those guys too, and it always works both ways. So excited about where we are, and we'll see what happens with that. I'll answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. As you mentioned, a lot of battles, but quarterback is obviously one that draws a lot of attention. You mentioned in a recent interview that you'd like to have it, I think, wrapped up in the spring.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think we can. I think with some of the things that we're doing, 7-on-7, we'll be able to. It's going to be a lengthier period, more reps and things of that nature. We have to see who can throw and who can catch, for that matter. And then we need help, and we need work in the secondary, because we did bring in 3 new guys in the secondary too. So we made that period used to have been 12 minutes. We went to 20, trying to make sure everybody gets the right amount of reps so we can get the evaluations on both the quarterback, the receivers, and the safeties and the corners. So we have added that part of it. But the quarterback battle, there's basically probably 5 guys in there vying for that spot, obviously with Talon and Malachi and Chris and I like Ledbetter. I mean, him coming over from baseball, he's done a nice job of showing his leadership ability and anything. And then I think we've got something special in KJ Jackson for our future, and so we need to figure out all that kind of stuff, and excited to get going with that battle.
Personnel stuff. You got a few guys that were injured late. DeBinion and was out all season. Ty Washington, Chambly, I believe, has left the team.
Right.
Just any updates on those guys, and anything you can comment on Chambly also.
Yeah, I think Maury Wiggins had cartilage trimmed, so I don't know that he'll be able to go Thursday, Friday. He may be back on Sunday, but that one there, Tyrus Washington will be able to catch some passes after spring break. He'll probably miss totally the first 5 days. But then we just got to make sure he doesn't go on the ground with that shoulder. But he's coming along. He's ahead of schedule with that shoulder. We need to be really smart with him this spring. Andrew Chambly just lost a love for the game and decided to start his professional, started his college as a regular student career. And can't think of anybody. Zuri Madison had a scooter accident and he tore his ACL. And that was maybe 2 or 3 days ago, maybe 4 days, maybe last week. Just hit a curve and put his leg out straight, and then the ACL couldn't handle that pressure. It's a shame because he's really a talented guy, and we'll use it. He'll get stronger and bigger in those things, and he'll be back. And as an ACL injury takes a while, so he probably won't be back till either the end of this season, maybe get prepared, maybe in a bowl situation, or come back next spring.
Is he good?
Yeah, R-Dub's good. I think those guys there, Trey, to be honest with you, I think those are the only ones that probably won't be ready day one. Those guys we just talked about. And I may have missed guys because they were over in the slot that they're not going to practice. But I think Ty was one of those guys. And you remember anybody else? I can't remember anybody else, to be honest. If I didn't remember, it wasn't because I was trying to hold it from you. I just forgot about them.
Luke is back. Has.
Say again.
Luke has.
Yeah, he's back, ready to go, and really looking good in all the running and things of that nature, lifting, and nothing holding him back.
A lot of new faces on the offensive line, but also some returning guys like Kudus and Crawford. Just what are your impressions of them entering spring?
Yeah, we're moving Kudus inside. I think with our guys that we got out of the portal, I think it allowed us to do that. And we're going to keep Ty Keast out there at tackle. But the guy that I've been really impressed with is Marion Harris. Some of the things that he's been able to do. I think, he's been here. Waiting your turn is not really a very good, but he's been patient with his opportunities, and I think he's ready to move on up, and he certainly is working like that. And so those guys back with Wiggins, and he'll be back. It'll be a couple days, but he's about ready. It'll be 3 weeks Thursday, I believe, 3 weeks Friday since he had his trim. And so I think he'll be back sooner than later. And we did lose a lot of offensive linemen with medical red shirts and obviously with Andrew's situation. But I think the three that we replaced, they're going to help us. I like the 2 tackles, and of course Nichols is. I offered Nichols at Georgia when he was a sophomore, and back then you had to be special, or you weren't going to get offered, and that he was a no-brainer at that point. I think moving him to center will be a really good move for him and for our football team.
And then linebacker room, pretty inexperienced, but I mean,
Yeah.
do you feel good about the talent you have in there?
I do. I'm really excited about those guys. With Spence, I like Spence and Sanford, and Carson Dean is a guy that can run and is big, and then Xavier Sori has been a good addition to the room. Those guys, I told T. Will we'll wait and see after spring ball what we're going to do in the portal. I like Juju Pope. We moved Juju there. He's a little bit undersized right now. He's about 205, but he has that linebacker mentality. And of course, you have Henley and guys on down the road. 2 of our guys we don't have yet. What's amazing, guys, is you have a team, and here's how times have changed. You have 3 guys now. Let's take away portal if something happens in April or whatever. I'm talking about today. You have 3 guys that aren't here, and the rest of the entire team that's going to play in 24 is already here. Hadn't that changed, from high school early graduations? And 2 of those, Wyatt Simmons and Brad Shaw, are linebackers, that are not here yet. And of course, Johnson or Cross is not here yet. Those are the 3, but other than that, they're all here, and I think we're really going to see they all can run. They're all big enough. They're all physical. They just haven't had the opportunity to get out there yet, and so we'll find out what we have. I think we're going to find that we're pretty good there. young doesn't always mean you can't play. It just means you need experience. And so part of the thinking with opening up the practices is because we are going to have some young kids and the quarterbacks, especially besides Taylor, that haven't played in front of people. And hopefully it'll kill two birds with one stone. We invite the state in to watch the kids play, and then they'll play it in front of people, and it might help them, and we'll be able to find out a little bit more about them. That part of that went with the linebacker group as well.
Hey, what's the logic behind going at 8? There's got to be like benefits that you see to do this.
You worried about your alarm clock?
Dude, I'm gonna be up. I'm gonna be ready.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, it all went around what time we could get the kids out to get to class. And, we could only push classes back X amount of, 11:30, 11:50. And so part of that was to make sure that they were able to eat in the morning, meet, and then have enough time to shower, eat, and get to class. So that was the thinking behind it.
Yes, but going back to the opening up practices to the fans and everything, is that going to be kind of do you anticipate that being the norm now, or is it just because you do have some inexperience on this team and want to get them in front of the fans and everything?
Well, it came about because of the latter part of that question. I don't know, I really don't know. Whatever it is that makes us play better. And, it's just like, we're so worried about people knowing this and that and the other about us. And I'm talking about our opponents, not our people of the state, but if our state knows it, our opponents know it, So I think we've been worried for so many years about all that, and I have too. But the bottom line is we got to get ready to play Pine Bluff, and that started in January. And by the time we play Oklahoma State, they're going to know a lot about our team anyway, because we just played a game. So it was more about us and do we believe that we can grow the love back for the Arkansas or grow the love for the Razorbacks by opening it up and us benefiting from it as well. I don't know what the answer will be in the fall, but I'm assuming that it'll be much more lenient than access to the players and coaches and things of that than what it has been in the past.
And I think about this time last year, you told us about how you're planning to maybe go for it more on fourth down and everything. I read an article recently that you said you're going to maybe go back to following your gut. What made you maybe go so far into the analytics last year? And then was it just an easy choice for you to switch back to going with your gut? Or
Well, I was over. When you're batting over, in the major leagues, you go down a level, at least I have an opportunity to fix it. And so, you're always going to have disagreements, and even in your own staff, whether you're going for it or whether you don't. I found that the faster you make the decision, the more you're going to stay with the decision. You know what I mean? Because heaven forbid you make a decision and they call timeout and you go, oh, well, are we really doing the right thing? And try to talk yourself out of it. So we will have the analytics available, but just because it says go, that was kind of I went more off of analytics last year than I did off of myself. And it was very uncomfortable for me. And then when we did it, it didn't work. And so we're going to hopefully find a happy medium that when we make a decision, it works,
So what did you see from Jacoby from a physical standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, since he's been here?
He's got a strong arm. I think that's the thing. And he's a guy you can count on work ethic wise and things of that. I certainly wish he was, will continue to get more vocal and those leaderships by skills by verbally in being more vocal. But he's got a strong arm and it'll be a battle there with those guys.
And Taylor Green, same question. What
Taylor Green's outgoing, he's got a personality. says what he's thinking, but not too much, if you know what I mean. He's not got a lot of respect from him coming in here and from the team, obviously from the coaches, but his work ethic and things of that nature. I think he might have a little advantage on all the guys because he ran a team, and so it may come a little bit more natural right now for him than everybody else at this point.
The decision for the early practices, though, you surely though felt like there'd be a benefit to you and the staff by doing it, because I can't remember early practices here. So what is it from your standpoint that this will be a benefit to us?
What went into the thinking? Well, we felt like we could get, and the beginning was we felt like we could get better tutoring, and we felt like we could have less guys with, in the evening. A lot of times you'll have 10, 12 guys leave the last 30 minutes of practice. We just thought our scheduling, so we could have the entire team, would be better, along with, we felt like we could get better during the day tutoring. And that's where it started from. Then I started talking about from different coaches on our staff that had been in the early morning. They all liked it. You get up and you go play ball. The kids liked it. I did it one time when I was at Tennessee for 1 year in 12. That's the only year I was there, but in 12 we did it. I liked it. I'm still having, Tom, a hard time wrapping my mind around fall. I feel like Mondays are so valuable to us that you're going to need Sunday, to wrap up the previous game, and then you're going to need at least 5 hours that night to work, and then you're going to need the other 5, 6 to get ready and continue the work towards a Monday practice. I don't know that we'll do it in the fall. I haven't been able to wrap my mind around losing a Monday practice, and I don't want to take Monday off and Sunday on. I don't think you can prepare your kids Sunday for a practice when you get home at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So will I do it again? I don't know. I'm so damn old that I'm used to what I like, and I think we'll have a big discussion at the end of it. I don't really know for sure if we're going to like it or not, Tom. I have liked the off season, the 7.5 weeks, but we haven't had spring ball with it yet. So maybe that'd be a good question after spring ball.
Sam, we spoke to you after Landon announced, but I don't think we got your thoughts on it. Just like, how much of a boost has it been, him specifically coming back, and what does his presence mean for just the culture of the program, having that kind of experience?
Yeah, he's a great kid, and I don't know that we were ever concerned, and that's not that way with everybody, but I don't know that we were ever concerned with him leaving and going in the portal. I think it was leaving and going to the NFL. And so, obviously we had to work through some hoops and different things, but he always wanted to stay. But it means a lot to the program. And the more kids you have like that wanting to come back, and then they get into the mode of, we have something to prove. Last year was not, indicative of what the years before were, and things of that nature. And I think the more you get around guys, it's that way, it'll help your team. But he's, obviously with him being a captain, and coming back, I think it was a big, big deal. And for just who he is.
It's only been a couple months, but have you seen any immediate benefits to having Coach Petrino on staff, and, just some of the positives that maybe he's brought to the entire program?
Well, I like all three of them. I like, and of course Bobby runs it. He runs the offense, but I think those three guys have helped us. Bobby's very organized, and it's his offense, and He's very comfortable with all the call. He went back because I think maybe when it was at A&M, some things, verbiage changed and all that kind of stuff. I said, oh, no, 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 no. I wanted to come singing off your, out of your mouth what you do, and you just put it in like you want it in, and then, I'll figure out the verbiage of it. And so he's doing great. And the guys that have come in have really bought into it. I think the wideouts are really excited about well, the entire offense are very excited about Coach Petrino being running the show.
Coach, on the running back situation, you feel like you've got at least four that can play pretty much anytime you need them?
I do. Another thing you're talking about spring ball, we're going to tackle to the ground now, and we will more than 2 or 3 times. And so we'll see about the running backs, but obviously R-Dub and Isaiah, had Jaquindon Jackson is a big physical guy. I'm going to tell you guys, I love Braylon Russell. I think what he's done, he came in, he was big, but he was big and vertical, 33 or something. I mean, very, very athletic guy. But I think, and, I think Damo is now, he's not using the knee brace as much, but we're big at running back, and that's, to me, that's what you have to have in this league. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be a rotating of 4 and 5 guys, but we got to find who that ace in the hole is. And I don't think we know that answer right now.
Is Vito someone that, is he just going to kick off, or is he going to be someone that challenges Shipley for the place kick in?
He'll be able to challenge. He's got an incredible leg. That's just like we were going over kickoff. I said, well, hell, if Vito's a kickoff guy, you can put me out there. They ain't going to return it. It's going to go up in the seats, but he's got to earn that. I like Matthews. I like Shipley a lot. Obviously transferred in from Hawaii. We haven't had the chance to watch him kick other than on his film. But I think that'll be a really good battle, to answer your question.
Okay, you mentioned linebacker, obviously, for the portal possibility coming up.
Yeah.
Well, that's obvious, but is defensive tackle, interior defensive line, is that another spot?
Yes. I think we're 4 that I like a lot, and there can be more, but 4 of them have played a lot of ball in there for us. Gaffard, not quite as much, but he was on our goal line package, things of that nature last year. But sheer number wise, we're going to have some more guys there. Same thing at linebacker, for sure. And I'd like to get another center if I could offensively, and see where we're at after spring ball.
You've been open in the past about wanting some changes to the recruiting calendar. How do you feel about the proposal of adding the June period and then maybe moving the December one?
Well, I don't think it's going to hit everybody's going to like everything about, if you're in the playoffs, you may like this, you may not like that. But I will say this, I've always thought if a young man, and I think it'll help the portal and the NIL, to be perfectly honest with you. I think if a young man comes in June and he wants to go to University of Arkansas and he has an opportunity in June to do that, then, guys are being recruited when they're in 9th and 8th and grade, and so it's not like it's going to be their first time on a campus. And so the problem is, we moved it used to be February, and we moved it to December. Now we're moving it to June potentially. And how far, the biggest question for me is, how is it going to affect the high school? Are they going to sign and then go, well, I've reached my goal, and I'm not going to play my senior year for the high school? That was the biggest question for me, because it's happened in the past. And as you well know, if it happens once and it can go again, it's just like bowl opt-outs now. It happened one time, and then now half your team's not playing anymore. So that would be the biggest concern that I would have about the early. But I think it will help you it's going to help you in management of your roster. Because, right now, with April coming and the portal open up again, one of those portal thing's got to stop. I mean, to me, it's once, but from what I understand, it probably never go back to one time. But I do think it'll help you manage your roster, and to me, it will take some of the bad blood out of recruiting late.
Coach, when you're going back to your wide receiver room and what you like there, developing that room, continuing to build that talent while also, as you have a QB battle, working on that chemistry with these quarterbacks, how are you balancing that this fall?
Yeah, that was the thought of 7-on-7, so we could see, make sure, because we do have, we got to figure out whether we're going to stay where we're at or go in the portal for some depth at wide receiver as well. We haven't seen Jordan Anthony hardly at all. I saw him over there running a 60. He's really fast, but that was the only portal guy that we brought in, and CJ Brown was, by the way, doing fantastic. He's really got a solid future. But the rest of them are all back. You look at Desmond James, who was a state 100-meter champion in North Carolina, 6'2", big, physical guy that can run, but he didn't get on the field last year. It's his time. He's got to do that. He's got to get up in my opinion, into the top 6. You look at Isaiah Sategna. That's a guy that's very, very talented, but early, for whatever reason, we haven't seen that at wide receiver. We've seen it in special teams and things of that nature. So there's some guys like that. Davion Dozier is another one. We kind of know about Andrew, and I tell you who's looked really good is Broden. It looked really good. And so that may have been just 6 months. He got hurt, last year early and missed some time, but with Tesla and Jaden Wilson and those guys, we got to find who's either 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got to find that out. I think we have really talented guys on the team. We just got to give them enough reps to figure it out.
And I ask you about Jordan Anthony too. What's his schedule going to look like with you guys and still doing track?
When we had walkthroughs and we had meetings, he's coming to us. Everything else, including his strength training, speed training, was done through track. So basically, he was doing most of his work, his physical work with track. As soon as, I think it's this weekend, correct? Or the national championship. As soon as he gets done there, when they get back, then he's a football player. And then after football, he goes back out to track. The only thing is the training part of it, the physicality, the weight room and stuff. We're going to keep him with the speed training and that over with track. But other than that, as soon as spring, we're not going to tackle him to the ground. I mean, Bucky said he's going to score a lot of points and all that kind of stuff. But
I was going to say, you probably didn't have very many offensive linemen who were also on the track team, but having a guy like this, what's it like having a balance with 2 different sports and an athlete?
Yeah, Bucky's great. So it's easy, I believe Sategna will go out for track as soon as spring ball's over with too. He's a little different shape because he's not, we'll give them the track as long as they can score points. If they can't score points, and I don't know where he's at with that, we'll find out more in the outdoors, in the outdoor meets. But with Bucky and Case and those guys, it's been real easy to manage, and we feel like Jordan will be ready for us, and obviously Bucky and them feel like that. And the only thing is, I'm afraid if we tackle him to the ground, we're gonna stay up on him. He'll be considered like a quarterback, at practice.
You've been pretty outspoken about NIL. This latest court ruling that blocks the NCAA from enforcing its rule. Right now, there's just no rule to stop schools from getting into a bidding war over high school guys. Have you thought about how you're going to deal with that?
Well, I think it's a great question, but to be perfectly honest with you, Mike, we've been dealing with it for a year and a half, to be perfectly honest with you. With it being open season, I think it makes it maybe easier, to be honest with you. that's what it is, especially nowadays, you give kids unlimited visits. And if they go to this one and this is what they're going to pay, and the next one, you're not going to get him because you know what he's going to pay. So what are you going to do? You're going to pay more. Next one's going to pay more. And kids are smart too, and so we've been dealing with that for a while.
Do you think though, there are still kids out there that money's not the total bottom line, just because I might get a few more dollars here? If I want to go to that school, I'll still go to this school I want to go to.
I do. I really do. And, our whole staff met with a guy, and in that conversation, I was talking about what we're talking about. And one of them was, Bobby had said, maybe with the Arkansas kid going to Arkansas, he wants to play for the Hogs. Now it can't be a discrepancy of $100,000 or $200,000. You know what I mean? But from what you're speaking of, I think kids still want to play for the Hogs. Now, not all of them, we act like every one of them was born and raised in our state, at times, or I do. Not, let's say I do. That's not necessarily true, but maybe the kids that are local, maybe within your 5-hour radius, or their parents went here thing, maybe that would be a little bit different. And we've seen that, we got some highly high recruited guys on our team right now from last year's class that came here. And I promise you, we weren't the highest bidder.
One more question. Gone blank.
All right. I can come back to
We
you.
have another one.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered bull riding to raise money for?
I'll tell you right now, I didn't know it happened. I'm off of the social media, and it's a good and a bad deal. The bad is you don't know nothing, and so Monday morning, somebody said, do you know Barry rode a bull? I said, no, he didn't, and they said, look at it. And so he about got knocked out. So I texted him and I said, what the hell are you doing? He said it's 150K rides, I said, and of course I got on Twitter, now I'm supposed to ride a hog or whatever, all that kind of stuff. But it was insane. I said, did you have any training? He said, well, no, they told me how to hold my hand and all that. I said, oh, it's got to be a better way to raising 150K. But that's Barry. I mean, he's tougher than hell. He always been that way. And I'm just glad that he didn't get hurt.
I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I read on the internet that next month there's going to be a vote on whether or not to allow in-helmet communication.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get your reaction if that passes, what it would be like to have Coach Petrino to be able to talk directly to quarterbacks.
Yeah. I think I'll be honest with you, Mike, I think they're going to pass it. I think that's more closer to passing than, well, I'm pretty sure they're going to pass it. And, yeah, I think so. I think the advantage is if you have a calm, cool, collected, guy talking to, well, here's your advantage on offense. You could huddle and you wouldn't have to, nobody'd steal your signals because you got a guy talking directly. Now, if you don't, then you're going to have to, it might not change a whole lot except for that calm, that, hey, look for this, look for that, So it's going to start with 40 seconds. Your communication will start when the 40-second clock starts. And then at 15 or whatever becomes, like if you snap the ball at 20, then it goes off. But at 15, it goes off. It's basically what they're doing in the National Football League. You'll get one there and you'll get one on defense too. There'll be a little, I think it's a green light on the helmet of the guy that has it on. But it's going to pass, along with tablets on the sideline and, things of that nature. High school's been doing it for a long time, and live video on the sideline, that'll pass as well, I believe. And I think it's a good thing. To be honest with you, we talked about, why don't you just put everybody in one, and then there was something about liability, insurance liability and things of that nature. But you want to stop anybody stealing signals and things like that, you just put everybody in one and they're hearing one voice and things of that nature.
Before we'd ever heard Arkansas Edge, you said you were real excited about the changes with NIL and stuff. You pleased with the transition from one Arkansas to Arkansas Edge?
Yes.
Jashad Stewart, I don't believe he's on the roster. There hasn't been any update on him.
Jashad's no longer on the football team.
How's that, Mason?
I was curious your impressions just on the recruiting trail of your 3 new assistants on offense.
Yeah, I went out with all of them, and I really like the guys. I mean, Eric, we put him out down in Texas, where he had been working, with Baylor and then Kansas City and over in the Jukes in Kansas because he played at Hutch JUCO and knows that league and all that from Kansas City. When you got your good coach, you go over the recruiting board and it's, some guys going, he's from, and they're looking up there, and you're going, take him down. We got no chance. We haven't been recruiting him. You know what I mean? Eric's on it. Ronnie Fouch. Ronnie's really good get. Bobby had recommended him, and a really good get here. And of course, Bobby's one of those guys that I don't know if he can get any quarterback he wants, but he can get most any quarterback that he wants, and just from his reputation. And so all of them have been really, really, really good hires, and I've enjoyed each one of them, knowing them as a person and getting to know them that way and their family.
Thanks, Coach.